That's it. Congratulations, Alex. Talk us through that match. Very difficult one. I think.
Listen to me very carefully. What you're about to hear is not just a recap of a tennis match. It is the anatomy of a sporting earthquake, a seismic shockwave that started in the sun-drenched desert of California, rippled through the elite locker rooms of the WTA, and erupted into absolute pandemonium in the crowded streets of Manila. If you thought you knew how the script for the BNP Paribas Open at Indian Wells was written this year, you are wrong. Tear up the script. Throw away the predictions, because the world of tennis just witnessed something completely breathtaking. We are talking about the complete and utter dismantling of an immovable object. The world number 3, the ice queen of Kazakhstan, Rybakina, Eala, stepped onto the court expecting a routine victory. She is the former Wimbledon champion. She is the reigning Australian Open champion. She is a 6-foot colossus with a serve that routinely shatters the sound barrier and breaks the spirit of her opponents. But waiting for her across the net was not just another player. It was a 20-year-old Filipina phenomenon who is no longer just knocking on the door of greatness. She is kicking it down. Alexa just stunned the world. And she did not do it by getting lucky. She did it by walking into the lion's den, staring down one of the most terrifying forces in modern tennis, and methodically, ruthlessly taking her apart. To truly understand the magnitude of what happened today, we have to rewind and set the stage. You need to understand the atmosphere of Indian Wells. They call it the 5th Grand Slam for a reason. The pressure is suffocating. The air is bone dry, meaning the ball flies through the air with terrifying speed. But when it hits the ground, the rough, friction surface of the court grabs the ball, making it bounce high and slowing it down just enough to turn every rally into a brutal physical test. It is a court that demands not just raw P, but supreme tactical intelligence. Going into this match, the tennis purists and the odds makers had completely written Eala off. They looked at the tail of the tape and laughed. On one side, you have Rybakina armed flat penetrating ground strokes, and a first serve that feels like trying to return a missile. On the other side, you have Eala, a player who has been making a meteoric rise up the rankings, sitting at a career-high number 31, but standing significantly shorter and relying on grit, speed, and defense. It looked like a classic mismatch. It looked like a slaughter waiting to happen. But there was an electric current running through the stadium before a single ball was even struck, because Eala did not walk out there alone. You could hear it in the stands. You could feel it in the air. She has a nation behind her. Thousands of passionate Filipino fans packed the bleachers, waving flags, chanting, and creating an atmosphere that felt more like a football stadium than a polite country club tennis match. Alva feeds on that energy. While Rybakina looked completely stone-faced, almost bored by the spectacle, Alva was bouncing on her toes, eyes wide, absorbing the electricity of the crowd. When the first set began, the nightmare scenario for Alva seemed to be coming true. Rybakina came out swinging with terrifying aggression. Her first serves were routinely clocking in the H100s, 100 the teens, ends, painting the lines with pinpoint accuracy. Alva could barely get her racket on the ball. Rybakina was holding her service games in under 90 seconds. It was a masterclass in F-strike tennis. And when Alva tried to serve, Rybakina was stepping 2 feet inside the baseline, taking the ball ridiculously early and punishing Alva's second serves with flat, devastating return winners. In the blink of an eye, Rybakina was up a double break. The commentators were already writing a love is obituary for the tournament. The crowd quieted down. It looked exactly like the blowout everyone predicted. Rybakina took the first set 3, and she looked completely untouchable.
But this is where the story shifts.
This is where a good tennis player becomes a great one. A lesser player would have folded. A younger, less experienced girl would have looked at the scoreboard, looked at the giant across the net, accepted the loss, and started packing her bags. Alexa Dezva, between the first and second sets, Alova did not panic. She sat in her chair, put a towel over her head, took a deep breath, and completely rewired her game plan. She realized that trying to match Rybakina's pace was corporate suicide. Rybakina loves pace. If you hit the ball hard and flat at her, she just uses your own power against you. Redirecting the ball into the open court before you can even recover your footing. So, Alva decided to stop giving her pace. She decided to drag the ice queen into the mud. As the second set opened, the tactical genius of Alex Alva was put on full display. When Rybakina served, Alva stopped trying to hold the baseline. She backed up. She stepped so far back, she was practically standing with the line judges in the California desert. This gave her an extra fraction of a second to read the massive serve. She stopped trying to hit return winners and just focused on getting the ball back deep into the middle of the court. And once the rally started, Alva completely changed the geometry of the match. Instead of hitting flat drives, Alva started rolling heavy, looked-up spin shots deep into the corners. Because the Indian Wells court is gritty, those head-up spin balls would hit the ground and kick up violently, jumping right into Rybakina's shoulders. Rybakina is incredibly tall. Her strike zone is naturally lower. When you force her to hit balls up around her neck, she cannot generate that same devastating flat power. Eala forced Rybakina to generate her own pace off high dead balls. And suddenly the unstoppable machine began to malfunction. Rybakina started spraying forehands wide. She started netting her backhands. The frustration on the Kazakh's face became visible. But Eala did not stop there. Oh no! She turned a knife. Recognizing that Rybakina's forward movement is the one tiny crack in her armor, Eala began to employ the drop shot with cruel and merciless perfection. She would pin Rybakina deep behind the baseline with a head-up spin forehand, wait for Rybakina to plant her feet, and then suddenly slick delicate, feathery drop shot that barely cleared the net. The crowd watched in awe as the world number 3 was forced to lunge, scramble, and sprint awkwardly forward over and over again. The desert heat combined with these brutal physical sprints began to drain Rybakina's legs. The giant was breathing heavily. The giant was crumbling. Eala broke Rybakina's serve early in the second set, and the stadium erupted. The Filipino fans smelled blood in the water. Eala rode that wave of momentum, defending like a wall, tracking down impasa shots, hots, and frustrating Rybakina into a state of total collapse. Eala took the second set. The match was to then came the third set, a set of tennis that will be studied for years to come. An absolute war of attrition. Both women knew exactly what was on the line. Rybakina even took a medical timeout before the final set, stepping off the court to clear her head and try to ice out the fiery Filipina. When she returned, she looked revitalized. She found her monster first serve again. For the first 6 games of the decider, neither player gave an inch. 5 games, aims all. It was suffocatingly tense. Every single point felt like a championship match. The turning point, the moment of absolute truth, came with Eala serving at 3-4. Rybak suddenly unleashed 3 unbelievable return winners in a row. Flat lasers right down the line. She generated a triple breakpoint at love 40. This was it. This was the moment the world number 3 was supposed to assert her dominance, break underdog serve, and close out the match. The stadium was dead silent, but Alex Eala's veins are made of absolute ice. Dove 40, facing the exit door, she played the service game of her life. First, a massive kick serve out wide that forced an error, 15-40. Then, a grueling shot rally where Eala simply refused to miss, covering every inch of the baseline until Rybakina finally cracked and hit a backhand long, 30-40. And on the third breakpoint, something truly unthinkable happened against one of the best returners on the planet. Facing a breakpoint that could end her tournament, Alex Servidea volleyed. She hit a vicious slice serve out wide, sprinted forward to the net, and calmly put away a forehand volley into the open court.
Deuce.
The crowd lost their minds. It was a stroke of tactical brilliance, pure, unadulterated bravery. Eala saved the game. Games and arms all, you could see the fight leave Rybakina's eyes. The mental toll of having that triple break point snatched away from her was too much. In the very next game, Eala pounced. She returned with vicious depth, stepping inside the baseline on the second serve and depriving Rybakina of any breathing room. At 15-40, Eala had double match point on Rybakina serve. The final rally was a perfect summary of the entire match. Rybakina, desperate, stepped in and hit a massive inside-out forehand. A shot that would have been a clean winner against 99% of the women on tour. Eala was caught going the wrong way, but she scrambled, skidded completely out of frame on the hard court, and threw up a desperate towering defensive B. The ball hung in the air for what felt like an eternity. The entire stadium held its breath. Rybakina camped under it, setting her feet for a high forehand put away. It was the easiest shot she had seen all day, but the pressure, the exhaustion, and the absolute relentless spirit of Alex had completely shattered her focus. Rybakina swung, and she buried the ball straight into the bottom of the net. Game, set, match. Alex, Eala. The second the ball hit the net, Eala dropped her racket. She fell to her knees, burying her face in her hands as the tears began to flow. The stadium exploded into a deafening roar. It was a mixture of pure shock from the tennis traditionalists and absolute overwhelming joy from the Filipino faithful, a nation in tears watching their brightest star achieve the impossible. Rybakina quickly walked to the net, offered a brief handshake, and marched off the court, clearly furious, while I stayed behind to soak in the greatest moment of her young career. When you look at the final statistics, the story is crystal clear. Rybakina hit 54 unforced errors. 54. That is unheard of for a player of her caliber. But they were not unforced. They were forced by the relentless pressure, the tactical variety, and the incredible defensive wall built by Alex. Eala played a miraculously clean match, keeping her own errors incredibly low and winning nearly 60% of points on Rybakina's second serve. This victory is going to send shockwaves through the rankings. Eala is not just knocking on the door of the top 20 anymore. She is tearing the hinges off. But more than the ranking points, this match sends a terrifying message to the rest of the tour. Eala has proven that she can step onto the biggest stages in the world, look the most terrifying players directly in the eye, and outsmart them, outrun them, and outlast them. For Elena Rybakina, this is a bitter pill to swallow. She has to go back to the drawing board before the Miami Open and figure out what to do when her power game is neutralized. But today does not belong to her. Today belongs to the Philippines. Today belongs to a 20-year-old girl who refused to back down. Eala did more than just win a tennis match today. She authored a masterpiece of resilience. She proved that pure power can be beaten by a brilliant mind and an unbreakable heart. The draw has completely opened up for her. Now the question is no longer whether Eala belongs on this stage. The question is who is going to be brave enough to try and stop her. I want to hear from you. Get down in the comments right now. Did you see this legendary upset coming? What was the turning point for you in that incredible second set? And just how far do you think Eala can go in this tournament? Hit that like button if you love seeing the underdogs conquer the giants.